History does not move quietly. It roars, it cracks, it bends the future like metal under fire. For thousands of years, humanity has marched through moments of terrifying uncertainty. Moments when entire civilizations stood on the edge. Moments when the world held its breath. Moments when one battle in one place, for reasons no one could fully understand at the time, changed everything that came after. These are not just battles. They are the pressure points of time. The fault lines where the timeline almost snapped. The crossroads where a single decision, a single mistake, a single moment of courage redirected the future of humanity. Today, we travel through 30 minutes of history's greatest turning points. 20 battles, 20 shocks to the timeline, 20 moments where the world we know almost became something unrecognizable. Let us begin. 1. The Battle of Megiddo, the first recorded shockwave. We start more than 3,000 years ago. A world of stone cities, bronze weapons, and kings who believed they were gods. Egypt, under Pharaoh Thutmose III, faced a rebellion threatening to tear the region apart. 3 roads led to Megiddo. 2 were safe. 1 was famously dangerous. Thutmose chose the dangerous road. His generals begged him not to. His advisors warned him. Yet he marched anyway. That single choice allowed Egypt to surprise its enemies, win the battle, and shape the ancient Near East for centuries. It also gave humanity something new, the first detailed military record. 2. The Battle of Marathon, the moment democracy survived. Now we move to a coastline in Greece. Athens was young, fragile, and surrounded by enemies. The Persian Empire, the largest force the world had ever seen, sailed across the sea to crush the city. The Athenians were outnumbered, exhausted, terrified, but they ran. They ran across the field in full armor, a tactic no one expected. The Persians broke, Athens survived, and with it, a new idea survived too: democracy. If Marathon had been lost, the world you live in today might never have valued freedom or individual rights. 3. The Battle of Salamis, a nation saved by the sea. 10 years later, Persia returned, stronger, angrier, determined to erase Greece from existence. Themistocles, a man often doubted, made a desperate plan. He tricked the Persians into entering a narrow channel where their huge fleet couldn't maneuver. In the tight waters, their advantage disappeared. Their ships fell into chaos. Greece survived again. Western civilization was saved by a sliver of ocean. 4. The Battle of Gaugamela, the rise of a global culture. Now we travel east, to a dusty plain where Alexander the Great met the Persian king Darius. On paper, Alexander should have lost. He was outnumbered, exhausted, far from home. But he saw something others didn't, a tiny gap in the Persian line. He aimed his entire cavalry at it. He pierced the heart of the enemy army. Persia collapsed. A new empire was born, and Greek ideas, science, philosophy, art spread across continents. Gaugamela didn't just create an empire. It created a cultural world. 5. The Battle of Zama, the end of an era. Hannibal, the general who terrified Rome, faced his final test against Scipio Africanus. Hannibal's war elephants charged. Rome's army simply opened gaps. The elephants passed harmlessly through. One simple tactic destroyed Hannibal's advantage. Rome won, Carthage fell. The Mediterranean became Roman. If Zama had ended differently, Europe might have spoken a different language entirely. 6. The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest. The empire stopped. 3 Roman legions walked into the deep forests of Germania. They thought they controlled the land. They were wrong. Germanic warriors led by Arminius ambushed them in mud, rain, and darkness. The Romans were annihilated. Rome stopped expanding. Europe split into Latin and Germanic cultures. The world map still carries the scars of this defeat. 7. The Battle of Tours, the future of Europe. In the year 732, an army from the Islamic world pushed deep into Western Europe. Europe was fractured and weak, but Charles Martel, the Hammer, led a desperate defense. His men held their ground. The invading force withdrew. This single moment determined the religious and cultural future of an entire continent. 8. The Battle of Hastings, an arrow that changed a language. In 1066, two armies collided for control of England. King Harold was struck by an arrow that changed the world. William the Conqueror took the throne. French blended with Old English. A new language emerged. The language you are hearing right now exists because of this battle. 9. The fall of Constantinople, the end of an empire, the birth of an age. For 1,000 years, Constantinople stood as a fortress of the old world. But in 1453, cannons, massive cannons, shattered its walls. The Ottoman Empire rose, the Byzantine Empire vanished, and European scholars fled west, carrying ancient knowledge. Their arrival helped spark the Renaissance. One city's fall became a continent's awakening. 10. The Battle of Castillon, fire and the end of knights. In 1453, as the 100 Years' War ended, French cannons destroyed a charging English army. This was not just a victory, it was a funeral. The funeral of medieval warfare. Gunpowder now ruled the battlefield. Knights on horseback were finished. A new age had begun. 11. The Siege of Tenochtitlan, a continent transformed. In 1521, the Aztec capital faced Spanish forces and their native allies. Disease weakened the defenders. Fear and shock broke their unity. The city fell. A continent changed forever. Languages, cultures, governments, religions, millions of lives shifted from that moment. 12. The defeat of the Spanish Armada, the rise of a new power. Spain, the superpower of the seas, sent a massive fleet to conquer England. But storms, mistakes, and English tactics destroyed the Armada. England rose. Its navy shaped global trade. Its language spread across the world. A storm helped rewrite the future. 13. The Battle of Sekigahara, Japan's turning point. In 1600, rival clans fought for the soul of Japan. Tokugawa Ieyasu won. He unified the nation. Japan entered centuries of peace and isolation. The modern character of Japan, the culture, the discipline, the order, was born here. 14. The Battle of Saratoga, the birth of a new nation. During the American Revolution, the United States was on the edge of collapse. Then came Saratoga. The American victory convinced France to join the war. That support changed everything. Without Saratoga, the United States might not exist. 15. The Battle of Austerlitz, Napoleon's masterpiece. Napoleon faced two empires at once. He tricked them into attacking a false weakness. Then he surrounded and crushed them. Europe trembled. Borders changed. New laws spread. Napoleon reshaped the world with one victory. 16. The Battle of Waterloo, the end of an emperor. Napoleon returned from exile to reclaim power. For a moment, Europe shook again. But at Waterloo, after hours of brutal fighting, his army collapsed. His empire ended. Waterloo preserved the balance of power for decades. 17. The Battle of Gettysburg, the Union holds. The American Civil War reached its turning point here. For 3 days, the fields turned red. The Union Army held firm. Slavery's expansion ended. The United States remained united. Its future global influence began in this moment. 18. The First Battle of the Marne, Paris saved. In 1914, German forces were close enough to see the towers of Paris. Then, in a desperate move, French troops rushed to the front, even using city taxis. The German advance stopped. The war changed shape. Trenches formed. The modern world emerged from the conflict that followed. 19. The Battle of Stalingrad, the turning of World War II. Winter, ruins, fire, death. Stalingrad was more than a battle. It was a nightmare. But the Soviet victory broke the German war machine. Hitler's advance ended. The war shifted direction. Stalingrad was the moment the world began to turn away from darkness. 20. D-Day. The door back to freedom, June 6, 1944. Thousands of ships crossed the English Channel. Tens of thousands of soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy. D-Day opened the Western Front. It led to the liberation of Europe. It marked the beginning of the end of the war. If D-Day had failed, the map of the modern world would look terrifyingly different. These 20 battles shaped languages, governments, beliefs, borders, and destinies. They changed the lives of billions of people who were never born yet. They carved the story of humanity into the earth itself. But their greatest lesson is this: history is fragile. History is unstable. History depends on moments. Moments shaped by courage, fear, luck, and choices made by people who had no idea what the future would become. And today, right now, we are standing in front of new battles. Not battles of swords or guns, but battles of ideas, battles of technology, battles of identity and truth. The next turning point of humanity may already be unfolding in silence. And centuries from now, someone may look back at this moment and call it the battle that bent the timeline once again. History is not finished. History is becoming. And you are living inside the next great battle of the world.